Now, when golfers are asked, what's the most important part of the golf swing? Pretty much always they'll say impact, because that's the moment you hit the golf ball. So, that's wrong. Because what the most important part of your golf swing is the things that lead up to impact. So, of course, if you want to get in a good impact position, you've got to have a good transition. You've got to start off that downswing, moving the body correctly, having the shaft movement go well, having the club face go well, because that's the only thing that's going to help you get into a good impact position. But then what creates a good transition? Top of the backswing massively helps with having a good transition. So I would argue that even top of the backswing is more important than your impact, because it leads into a good transition, it leads into a good impact. So this is not going to be me saying, I want you to get in this specific top of the backswing position because that's going to make you have an awesome impact. Not at all. This is going to be how to make your golf swing with what you do at the top of your backswing work for you. So, okay, let's say I'm a golfer who has a shorter golf swing. So I've got a shorter backswing. This is vast majority of all us golfers out here. A shorter golf swing where you don't quite get to parallel at the top, you get to around 3/4. It's very much me. Now, I will see golfers who, let's say, be struggling with their impact position and be struggling with their transition in this top of the backswing with a shorter swing across the line. So these golfers, you'll see them get steep in transition and you'll see them most likely early extend going into impact. So whether they think it's an impact issue, they think it's a transition issue, got a steep shaft, but it's actually their top of the backswing. They would need to have a more laid off shaft at the top. So a shaft angle that's pointed a little bit more left for the right-handed golfer, because then shallowing becomes extremely easy for that short swing. Shorter swing, got less time. Transition, you've got way less time to be able to shallow it. So you need that shaft almost pre-shallowed at the top. And then we've got that shallow shaft, so now we can turn and get into a good impact position. None of that would have been made possible for the shorter swing player without being a little bit laid off. So you go. What happens if you've got a medium length swing? Parallels to the ground or roughly around that. Again, I would see players who massively struggle with their impact position, be across the line here, because again, don't have all that much time. You've got a little bit more time than the shorter swing player, but you'll still most likely get steep. You'll still most likely then have to do something to counteract that steep shaft, usually come out of your posture or crazy right side bend. You won't get that open. You'll start jump stalling. Might even see a player with a normal textbook length swing, too laid off, and then we'll see them either have their club dumped underneath them massively, get them stuck, and then again they'll have to jump and fire their hands, or they might reorganize and steepen it and have a bad impact. Top of the backswing caused the issues. If it wasn't a good spot, we need to either be down the line of that shaft angle, or maybe even very slightly laid off. You can even be very slightly across the line depending on your shallowing ability. So again, top of the backswing, preferably with a normal full length golf swing, down the target line with that shaft angle. So it's just all shaft angle. Long golf swings, okay, long golf swings. This is very specific, quite like the short golf swing as well. For a long golf swing, say John Daly, Bubba Watson, we see them here. You can see that little bit of the club out the corner of their eye. Across the line shaft they have. They need it across the line because with a long golf swing, you've got way more time to perform that downswing, way more time to perform transition. So with that more time, then you've got all the time in the world to naturally shallow that shaft. And then you get into a good spot and then you can turn through the golf ball nicely, get in a good impact position. I see players with their long golf swing that massively into them, either having a down the line shaft, because then they might shallow the golf club too much, get it stuck behind them, have a terrible time, and then God forbid if they're laid off with a long golf swing, very rare that is, but they don't play good golf, I can tell you that. They'll get the club again horrendously steep, or they might try to really over top, chuck the club out in front of them. But why are they doing that? Because their top of the backswing position sucks. So you can see there the massive cause and effect of different backswing lengths to what happens in the downswing, in transition and in impact. But there's not one way, is there? Short golf swing, slightly laid off, more parallel to the ground or around that. You want it more down the line. You can have a little bit of wiggle room one way. Longer golf swing, more across the line. Simple drill to do with this. Simple drill, all depending on what your swing length is. This is why you'll know what your swing length is, you'll see it. So that's why Overswing isn't really a fault, you just got to match it up properly. Short golf swing isn't a fault, you just got to match it up properly. Put a tee in the butt end of the club. Short golf swing guy, so this is me. And most of you watching this will be this. Have this tee, butt end of the club, point it out towards the right, a little bit in front of you at the top of your swing. You could do that, you could pause, good, boom, swing through, there you go. That's your drill to get into a good top of the backswing position, so you have good shaft angle in the downswing, will facilitate a good impact position and a good movement for it. More normal length guy, so very rare this, very, very rare. So, we want the tee pointing straight behind, ideally. Can be a little bit, one way or the other, depends on your shallowing ability. So, again, let's try that. I'm going to try, even though I can barely get up to a full length backswing, so even though I'm going to say, let's get up there, I might not even do it exact because that isn't my golf swing. I will struggle to do it. So here we go. Boom. There we go. Hopefully that looks somewhat okay when I look back at that on slow motion. So, that's our drill. Point the tee dead behind. If you've got more normal length swing, you'll start to see yourself shallow. You start to see yourself getting into a better impact position. Again, you can clearly see impact isn't the most important thing in the golf swing. It's all about what you do beforehand. It's what creates impact. Top of the backswing and transition is far more important. So, long swing guy. This is going to be tough for me to do. I do not have the mobility, being a disabled golfer, to do this, but we'll give it a good old go. We'll give it a good old fashioned go. So here we go. Where do we want the tee now? Pointing behind us. We want that across the line for a long swing guy because we've got all the time in the world to shallow, and we've got all the time in the world to perform the rest of the downswing. Here we go. This might not look exact, so bear with me. Don't flame me in the comments for this. Here we go. Let's have a go. We're going to pause it. Boom, very hard to do. I ball terribly doing that. Long golf swing, ain't my thing. I shallow the golf club too much for a long golf swing. Too much time for me. So, good drill to do. Again, you're going to know what length of backswing you got. It's the thing that golfers hyper obsess about. But you should only hyper obsess about it to match it up. So, have a good practice there. Get this in there. If you have not got the right shaft angle to backswing length match up, you're never going to improve, and I really mean that. So, really get that into your golf swing. Short golf swing laid off, normal length golf swing, down the line, long golf swing, across the line. Don't be mixed up there. You've got to be exact with that. So, if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So, work on this, guys, and you're going to be getting into a much better position in a downswing, transition and impact.